Hey, welcome back, my friends. Welcome to live stream number 146. It's January 22nd, 2024. Can you believe it? We are almost through the month of January, and it feels like it finally. It finally feels like winter. It's been pretty blustery. If you've seen a couple of the recent videos, we have had actual snow. Last winter, we had no measurable snow. That's how they described it, as no measurable snow. This year, we just got probably about 6 inches the other day, and it was a great opportunity to try out the edge tamers on my bucket. Hopefully, you saw that video, and everything worked out really well. So, we kind of are warming up going forward, which is okay. We're going to be hitting the 40s and the 50s, and the snow will just slowly melt away. But it sure was pretty, and that's why I ran that little intro here, just so you could see some shots of the property in the snow. And I hope you watched that video too the other day. I released a video with an Elvis song on there. I originally was going to produce that video and put some music like what you just saw, but it just I just felt like it needed something more. So I used the Elvis song "Wonderful World," and of course, by doing that, it's not really a copyright strike or anything, but it got flagged for copyright, which I knew. And essentially, what it means is the channel earns no ad revenue from that video. But you know what? I think it was worth it, and let Elvis earn the ad revenue. He earned it well. So that's uh, that's what's happening there. If you're new to the live stream, what we talk about here is basically kind of what we do on the channel, which is talking about tractors and outdoor projects, DIY projects, life in the country, all that kind of good stuff. But if you are here for the first time, please say hi in the live chat so that we can welcome you appropriately. Let us know how you found the channel. Was it Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, uh, or any one of those combinations? By the way, if you are watching from any of those platforms, know that you can also subscribe or follow the channel on the other platforms. Some people really just focus on YouTube. Some folks just watch on Facebook, and that's okay. But remember, you can subscribe to both because there's often a little bit of, not often, there's sometimes some different content on one versus the other. Like I'll post a lot of more pictures on Instagram and Facebook. YouTube has that community tab where you can post some pictures, and I do that sometimes, but not as often. Again, if you're new here, we do this every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll get you out of here around 8 o'clock, and that's what we do. And tonight, what I thought we would just talk about is, of course, the snow is the topic at hand. Folks around the country are finally getting some snow. I know that up in our friends in Canadian land, it was taking some time to get some snow, and I guess your snowfall levels down a little bit. Of course, John over in Minnesota's been running the snow blower and doing some good things there with snow. So um, that's what we can talk about too. And of course, the wood stove has been a big topic for me because that was a new install that we just did, and we've been burning the daylights out of that thing around the clock. And I've learned so much because this was the very first experience we've had with having an actual wood stove. Ann and I both wanted one forever, so it's really exciting to have one. But it is different in some ways than I expected. We can talk about that some tonight too. And of course, later we'll do a sticker giveaway. But you know what? No, we're not. We're not going to do that. I think what I'd like to do is give away another mug. I think it's a good night to do that. Good way to give back, and a lot fewer people have won the mug. So we're going to do a mug giveaway tonight. It's about I don't know, $10 or $15 value, although it's priceless. It's valuable and priceless at the same time. So stick around for that. And then if you do have a comment or question that you want to be seen in the live chat, type the word out like this, the word question followed by your question. And then that helps. The word question followed by your question. I'm looking at a mirror image here. But my goodness, there's a lot of comments here. A lot of folks here that we like to see every week. There's Chevhead Ed and Kent and Bob and Ross. Bob Ross, not Bob Ross, Bob and Ross. David, good to see you. Chris, and scrolling. There's Mike. There's Jeffrey. There's Ben. Appreciate it. So you're chatting with each other because a lot of this started before the live stream. So that's good to see. So remember, if you have questions for me or for other folks in the live chat, just type them in there, and we'll get through to that. So, but let me know how have you been doing with snow in your area? Um, we got like I said, about 6 inches. And not only that, the weather had turned. We've been down to now. Don't laugh. I know some of you guys have like sub-zero weather. We got down to like 14 degrees at night, and that's pretty cold. The other day, I think we had a high of 23. That's cold. That's cold. Um, but let me know how it's been in your part of the country. I did see a question here from David. How's the wood pile? Well, as I mentioned, I had to buy a cord of wood because even though I've been cutting and splitting wood, it's not seasoned yet, so I can't use it this year. So I had to buy a cord, and I feel like we're almost halfway through it already. We're burning it a lot, so I'm going to have to order another one. I may order from a different supplier. This wood is dry, no problem at all, but it's really got a lot of little pieces, like a lot of 12 inches or so. I mean, I can actually load the stove from the front, feed them in this way instead of across. Um, but I would like it to be a little longer. The stove can take up to 18 inches. I like 16 because that way you can kind of angle it in. I really don't want any 18s. 16 is what I'd like. That's what I'm cutting all mine at. And this wood was also kind of dirty. I don't want to be whiny about it, but not just dirty like wood is dirty, but a lot of dirt and mud on it. Um, so I don't like that too much. I would just like a little cleaner, nicer, nicer wood. So I see Dave there is 19 degrees in Alabama. That's pretty cold for Alabama, isn't it? Yeah. And David would like to ship all the snow to whoever wants it. I actually said last week or two I wouldn't mind seeing some cold weather and some snow. So it was nice. Jim's got 12 inches on Friday and Saturday. Last week, total accumulation of 18 in the mountains of West Virginia. I bet that's beautiful. I'm sure it is. Uh, yeah, some people are asking for snow. But it is pretty, and I'm glad to have experienced a good snowfall here. But they were saying on the way the weather has been, um, we could be we could be over. Like winter could be over here. Like 4 weeks of winter, that might be it because we got a warming trend coming up again in the 50s or so. Who knows where it's going to go from that? We could certainly. It's all it's all unpredictable. You just don't know. So so the stove. One of the things I've learned about it is that it burns a lot more wood than I expected. Um, Again, we didn't have one before. For some reason, I was imagining that we would load the stove up and then, like 8 hours later, we'd have to feed it again. And what I've learned is, as I've shared, I'm burning like one piece per hour, and you could fit, maybe three good sized pieces in there. So every 3-4 hours, you're feeding it, uh, stirring up the coals, and that's not a problem because one of us is around most of the time. So it would be a problem if we were both off. You know, back in our younger days when we were gone from the house for 10 hours a day with both going different directions with work and everything. So now one of us is around, so it works out pretty well. Um, I think the bigger problem though is that you have to get up at night and feed the stove if you don't want the house to be too cold in the morning. And that's still not so much of a problem because as you get older, you end up getting up in the nighttime anyway. Uh, but still, it's one more thing you have to do. But we're enjoying it. Like we don't mind. I like the activity of cutting the firewood, uh, bringing it to the front porch. We stack it, and we can have a little system going now where I'll bring the wood around to the front porch either with the garden cart, or put a load on the back of the mule, and then Nan can be on the front porch and I can hand her the pieces and she stacks it up along the wall next to the door. That saves a step, because before, if one person does it, you either have to go up and down the steps, or you chuck everything onto the porch and then you go up on the porch and you grab it and stack it. So it's a good little system. And we bring in enough each day to get through the whole day. And that way it's in the house, it's drying, sometimes enough for 2 days worth. Because even though the wood is seasoned, it's still wet on the outside because either rain or snow, or just the wind blowing it up on the porch. So by bringing it in, we are able to dry it out even more in the house. Here's another thing that we've learned, and I always heard that wood stoves, number one, are messy. True, it's all right. Number two, that it's a very comfortable heat. That it is, because we where are these balloons coming from? We Now that we're burning the stove, there's the one room where the stove is. We're calling it the hearth room. That was Ann's idea. I think it's a nice name. It's a little room. Used to be the dining room, but we never used it as a dining room. Our other house had a dining room we never used. So now it's a very small room. So the wood stove's right in the middle of it. We put a little love seat in there, and another chair, and it's the hearth room. And that room is like 75 degrees all the time, sometimes hotter, because that gets the rest of the house to like 68. Uh, so that room is quite warm. I kind of lost my point, but that's one thing that we're enjoying, sitting in the hearth room more than anywhere else. So I'll see if we have any questions. Oh, that was, you know where I was going with that? I know exactly where I was going with it. That room is hot, and that's okay, 'cause as long as you're not working on anything, it's very comfortable. The humidity is been a problem. Not a problem. It's been interesting to see. Uh, if we're cranking that stove, I've got that little thermometer that I showed on Facebook and the YouTube community page. Neat little thermometer that I picked up on Amazon. I actually ended up getting a dozen of them, because I placed them all throughout the house. I put 3 of them in the barn so I could check different rooms in the barn. It's just a neat little, like, 2.5 inch by 2.5 inch thermometer. Takes a AAA battery. It shows the temperature and the humidity, and very accurate. I lined up like 6 of them in a row, and they were all within a degree, at less than a degree. So they're accurate, nice big display, and I just like walking into a room and saying, what temperature is this room?" Um, so that room's hot, but the humidity has dropped all the way down, sometimes as low as 25%. Now, 30, from what I've read, is the minimum humidity that you want. And of course, there's a lot of static shock and everything as well, and your skin dries out. So 30, it's kind of hard to maintain 30, but we were putting a big pot of water on the stove. Not the prettiest thing, but amazing to see how much of that goes into the air. And now we bought a little uh, cast iron crock, not little, but a cast iron crock that sits on the stove, and that's helping tremendously. So that was a lesson to learn about the humidity and the dryness in the house. So I'm sure you might have some tips about that too. We could get a humidifier, but that's one more device to have in the house, and it's just. I did get an air purifier, because I thought that would be a good idea, because there's a lot of dust when you open the door, when you shovel out the coals. The ash is so fine, it just, you can't contain it. Uh, so I got an air purifier. It's got a HEPA filter in it, and it has an automatic sensor. So the fan ramps up. Most of the time, it's almost completely quiet. Every now and then, you'll hear the fans ramp up on it, and it's kind of cleaning the air. So I'm glad we put that in. But we don't want to put a humidifier if we don't have to, because that's, again, one more device. So I saw some questions here, and I wanted to bring those up. Regarding the type of stone, Linda has a question here about what type of wood stove do you have? Steel, cast iron, soapstone? How long does it burn? So again, we're getting, if I pack the stove and and I turn the draft control down to almost minimum, I can get a good 4, 5 hours before it never goes out because it just doesn't get as hot, and then you just have all these embers and coals in the bottom. The stove will run 400 degrees, 400 or 500 degrees, but as it cools down, it drops down to like 180. Uh, so, but I never really have to relight it. I come down, I stir up the coals, get the hot coals up to the top, and they're nice big chunks. Bring those up to the top. I lay some light wood down, and it just ignites and takes off again. Our stove is a Hearthstone, is the brand. The model is a Shelburne. It's a stove designed to heat up to, I think, 2,000 square feet. Um, and it works well for this space. It is a combination cast iron with soapstone on the inside. They make soapstone stoves. I mean, none of them are completely made out of soapstone, but basically they make a cast iron stove, and the soapstone is on the outside. Ours is cast iron, but the soapstone is hidden on the inside. I don't know if there's an advantage one versus the other. It seems to me that either one would be fine because you're heating the stone, and that takes longer to heat up, but it also holds the heat a lot longer. Now we don't have any soapstone on the top, so maybe that would be an advantage to having the soapstone as part of the top. Ours has soapstone on the sides and the back, and then the top, there's, I think they call it vermiculite. There's like some panels I had to put in when I assembled it, and then on the bottom there's some panels as well. So it is still soapstone, so it retains the heat longer, and it is cast iron. I was going to buy a steel stove from Tractor Supply, uh, which probably would have been fine, but I started to read more about it, and um, some things said that the steel can warp. It doesn't last as long as cast iron. Some of you may have had steel stoves forever and say that's baloney. They're just fine. That may be the case. But I also started looking at other brands, specifically the Hearthstone, because I like the design of it. It's a U.S. made stove. It's cast in the United States, and it's very decorative. It's not just a plain stove. It has a nice design on the top and on the sides. The door is pretty because this is going to be a piece of furniture that's in that room year round. So I just wanted it to look nice, and that was actually Ann's idea when she said, "Why are you just looking at Tractor Supply? Why don't you look at other places?" And lo and behold, there's a whole new world out there if you just start looking around. So that's what I found with my research, and I'm really happy with it. Um, no regrets there whatsoever. Now, when I say no regrets, there are times where I think, you know what, we probably could have used something a little bit bigger. But that's just like the tractor, right? You get what you have, and you're like, you know what, I could have gone a little bit bigger. Come to think of it, you might always say that. And I would just like to easily put 4 big pieces in there, but it just can't. The box looks bigger than it actually is because it has that soapstone and those other stones in there. So the firebox inside is not as big as as what it might appear from the outside. I think it's a 2 cubic foot stove. So let me know what you have and what you think. Basically, I would imagine a lot of people would say, heat is heat. That's what people are saying to me. I joined some forums online, and they ask questions about different types of wood, and most people say burn it, whatever it is, burn it. It'll burn. Heat is heat. But I have to say that I don't burn green wood. I'm not burning any pine or evergreen because, from what I understand, there's that sap that's in there can cause creosote and cause problems. So, hey, there's our friends from R2 Manufacturing. That's Rob and Ryan. Yeah, it's either both of them or one of them. But anyway, good to see you guys. Thanks for the compliment on the Edge Tamer video. If you didn't see that video, R2 Manufacturing is the company that manufactures the Edge Tamer and some other components as well. And that was what the last video was about. I got to test it out on the snow, so it was great. So Rob and Ryan are two brothers that started this company, invented the Edge Tamer, and really, not only are they fantastic folks, but they make an incredible quality product. And if you'd like to have them join a live stream as a guest so you can ask questions and meet them, let me know in the live chat. Let them know. Just say in the live chat, hey, Rob and Ryan, why don't you join Ed for a live stream sometime? That would be fun. Not like putting you on the spot, right? So questions more about the wood stove, questions about the Edge Tamer video. Uh, Here's a question from Chevhead Ed about putting potpourri or something in the water to make it smell nice. Anne is one step ahead of you. In this water, she has the whole cinnamon sticks that you buy in the spice department of the store. Spice section, I guess, not a whole department. Anyway, they're like curled up sticks of cinnamon. Well, cinnamon sticks. She puts them in the water, and it does actually make a nice difference. The water looks disgusting. It's brown and disgusting, but you don't really look at that. But it does when you walk in the house, you smell the nice cinnamon smell. So yeah, you certainly can do that. And we do. And we do. But good point, David. Don't let it boil dry. Yeah, and we actually did that. It's amazing how much water, probably a gallon a day, is evaporating into the air of the house. So that's a lot of humidity that's being sucked up for sure. Hey, there's James from Killing a Country. Good to see you, James. And I'm just scrolling through looking for question. Yeah, talking about a bigger tractor, Ben is saying he often asks his B2601 to be an L. Like, if you could just be an L, just a good point. I almost bought the L2501 before I discovered the B2601. And I don't think I didn't really compare enough about horsepower and specs and all that. They're both 25 or 26 horsepower. I don't know what the L2501 PTO horsepower is. I think I could use more horsepower at the PTO, and I could definitely use more lift capacity. So, but I fell for the bells and whistles of the B2601, the L2501, now the L2502 from Kubota. We're talking about is more of a base tractor. Uh, the B2601 had the what's it called? Swift Hatch loader, so you could easily detach the front end loader. And I thought that's pretty neat. Although I never take the front end loader off, I've done it a couple times just because I could. I have no reason to take the loader mechanism off, so I don't care about that. If I bought another tractor, that would not impress me to have a quick attach front end loader. I don't need that. Uh, the B2601 has the now this is probably more important. The control for the front end loader is built into the tractor, where the L25 series, the L series, is built onto the loader itself. So you're kind of reaching forward for that stick rather than the one down by your side. And I think for user comfort, that is more important. So that was a selling feature for me. And then like the B2601 had a 12-volt outlet next to the seat so you could charge your phone. Have I ever used it? I don't think so. I don't think I've ever used it. Uh, and not to mention, you could put one in yourself, easy enough. It had other things like the 3-point arms. The what do they call it? Didn't use the turnbuckles. It had the adjustable arms, so it had more conveniences. Also had the mid mount PTO, the mid PTO. Again, something I have never used. I don't think I will, unless I were lucky enough to get a snowblower. But we don't generally have enough snow to worry about it. Now, if I had a snowblower the other day, that would have been fun, but I don't think it's worth it for what we get here. So a lot of things I didn't need. I think I'd be happier with a more basic tractor with more power. But that's just me. That's just me. So Okay, R2. So that's Ryan, not Rob. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for clarifying. Anyway, you see it here. Folks would like to see you join us. They'd have some questions for you and like to meet you. So let's set that up. Now, Kevin's mentioning burning pine. I did see this in some of the forums where there are some states and some areas where pine is really the predominant or dominant wood, and that's what they burn. So I guess so. But here as I was walking, I walked through the woods this afternoon because spoiler alert, I'm making a video, hopefully making a video about maple syrup. I always wanted to tap a tree and try to boil down some sap to make syrup. And I don't need, if I get a little bottle, I'll be happy with that. I know you need to boil down like 5 gallons to make a a pill bottle worth. But anyway, I thought, well, we've got 30 acres of woods back here. I'm going to find some maple trees, and I went back there and I couldn't find any maple trees, and that's partly because the leaves are all gone, and that's how I can identify trees best, by leaves. I don't really know all the barks yet, but it's like there are mostly oak trees back there, which is good for firewood, but not for tapping. So I ended up tapping a small tree in the yard here, and I'm working on that. Uh, but anyway, so we have a lot of oak, which I'm happy about. Mark there from an East Key loads your stove 3 times a day. That's probably a nice size stove. Yep. Uh, a little diversion here. We won't stay here long. Last week we talked about kind of the back end of YouTube and the nuts and bolts of being a content creator. I love talking about that stuff. Um, by the way, as I think I mentioned last week, we were talking about creating content for YouTube, what that takes, and I disclosed to you that I was using you as a test audience because I was giving a presentation the next day for Rutgers University. They have a homesteading academy here in New Jersey, and I spoke about adding social media to your homestead as a means of supplemental income. This is, I believe me, I do this because I like to, but it is a job for me. Um, and with YouTube, we get ad revenue for the commercials that you watch or skip over. Facebook, there are ads on there. I mean, that's how it's paid for. These are free services to you, but the advertisers pay for it, and as a content creator, we get a percentage of that ad revenue, which helps, justify the ungodly number of hours that go into shooting, editing, creating content, which again, no complaints. Those of us who do it, we do it because we love it. Uh, but fact is, it is a means of income, and that incentivizes a lot of people to continue to produce content, to up the quality of their content. It's good for you, really, the consumer, the content consumer, um, because it forces us to be creative, competitive as far as putting out good content. So that was what my discussion was about: was adding social media as a means of supplemental income to your homestead. Because a lot of people have homesteads; they're selling eggs and poultry and maybe meat, flowers, vegetables. That's part of their business, small time farming, and this is a means of supplementing that. All right. That wasn't a freeze. That was an actual me freezing up while I was just reading. But then I realized if I don't say something, they're going to think the live stream froze up. So I'll just continue forward, looking for questions or comments, and then we'll do this. We'll do this mug giveaway soon. If you're just joining us tonight, we're going to wrap up in 29 minutes, and sometime between now and then, we're going to give away this mug or one just like it. So stay tuned for that because there will be a mug winner tonight. Okay, so BT, next project concerning the barn. Well, the barn needs, you know what I think the next project in the barn is? The never-ending project of organization. You know, when we moved in August, everything from like now this house we're in now is two-thirds the size of what we moved from, maybe even less, but about two-thirds the size. The other house had a full basement, and when I say a full basement, I mean it was full. That's it was. It had 64, 65 years worth of stuff in it because the house belonged to my parents before we owned it. And I was finding I found plastic bins of my mother's clothes in the basement. And she died 30 years ago. I mean, just I don't know. Should have done it years and years ago. But anyway, so a lot of stuff got thrown away. But this house, it has a service basement. You know, there's a boiler down there and water tanks, but you by no means can use it for anything storage wise because it's old stone and dirt and damp and it's tiny. It's really tiny. So this basement is not usable, which is a good thing. But the point is, everything went out into the barn. The barn is as big as what our house was. So what we didn't throw away, give away, sell, throw away mostly, uh, is in the barn. You know, and not to mention the garage. I had the garage, a 24 by 24 garage, again with 65 years of stuff in there, and we didn't have time to bring it in and place it. It's just there, so I need to organize that. Long story short, the next project concerning the barn, there are three bays across the front. There are three bays, and then the back has a nice lean-to the whole length of the barn. Uh, the three bays are not they're not traditional in that you couldn't open them up and have one big garage. They have to remain three bays because there are support beams and posts and whatnot there. Uh, so the leftmost bay, as you're facing the barn, is going to be my workshop. Um, and it's got some blue foam board now around the walls, which is great. But I'm going to insulate it, put boards up, and put an insulated ceiling, and have a nice workshop, which is going to be like 20 by 30, something like that, 15 by 30. I don't know, whatever the measurements are. I just want a workshop, not one I can pull equipment into because it's not designed for that, but it'll just be like a tinker shop. Maybe we'll even do live streams out there and videos and things like that. So that's next is I need to focus on that. I need to focus on insulating the barn because it does have water in there, which had in the past froze. You know, the former owners, previous owners had to fix some broken pipes, and I don't want that to happen again. So I've got a little propane wall heater running out there now, and I've got an electric space heater in the back, just trying to keep the barn at like 38 degrees, uh, anything above freezing. So insulation, that kind of stuff. There's also a little leak in one section because it's probably just the screws on the metal roof that work their way up or something. Otherwise, it's pretty tight. So, David, good point. I was reading about birch today. No, I don't know that we have white birch. We have a lot of beech, and I don't think beech has anything to do with birch. It's just that they sound similar. A lot of beech, incredible amount of beech tree, but I don't think birch. Good point though. So, hey, there's Lane and Mike. Good to see you guys. Haven't seen you for a long time, and I can't see you now, but I saw your names. Anyway, good to see you. All right, so thank you, Chris, for the comment about the presentation. I appreciate that. Here's a question that I cannot answer from Mike. Maybe you've already answered his question in the chat here, but he has a lot of cedar. Would you guys burn it in your wood stoves? Worried about overheat? I did read that cedar burns super hot. I don't know that it has the problem of sap and creosote that pine would have. I don't even know if I'm right about that, about pine. I know pine just burns fast, but I did read that cedar burns super hot. And I would kind of like to, we have a lot of cedar here too, and I'd like to cut some up just for a little test So I'd be curious what your answer is to Mike there. Yeah, there you go. David Cedar burns so hot. But does it burn hot and fast? I guess it would. I mean, otherwise it would be ideal if it burns slow and hot, but I guess it burns really fast. You can answer me that too. All right. I'm scrolling through just to see if I'm missing any questions. Chris, how old is Hachi? Hachi is now 9 years old, and we adopted her when she was about 1 year old. She was from a pound or whatever adoption system type thing. I forget where, but anyway, she was adopted. We were told she came from down south, and we've had her now for about 8 years. She is a runner for sure. You see that in the videos. She loves this property, and she will stare at you until you take her out to run. And then even when you go outside, she will run toward the woods because that's where she loves to run in the woods. She'll run toward the woods. She'll stop, turn around, and look at you. And if you're going about doing other things, she'll come back, circle around, start to run toward the woods, stop, look at you until you start to follow. And then when you follow, she just takes off. But she likes you to be with her. She's an amazing little dog. You know, she doesn't leave. She might leave the property line a little bit, but she doesn't wander. She stays basically within her bounds. When we're walking back there, she always finds us. It's amazing. But she's a runner for sure, and she loves it. She's fun though. She's fun to watch. We're lucky with her. Thanks for noticing. All right. Hi, Kim. And Margaret. No, I will not call it my cluttered workshop. It'll still be a garage. It'll still be a cluttered garage. Even if my garage is perfectly clean, it'll still be called my cluttered garage. Yeah, Bob, that would be nice to have HVAC for the barn. And I think in sections, we'd like to do that for sure. All right, let's do this. Oh, you know what? I didn't set it up. I was going to transition into the mug giveaway. But you know what? I didn't set it up. So now you have to watch me set it up live without messing up. How about that? All right. Won't take long. Here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this mug giveaway right here. And that's a fun thing. You can enter to win this mug, and I will order it from the Teespring store who makes it. They'll make it and ship it directly to you. So here's what you have to do. You have to wait for me to add this. Okay. I'm so afraid of clicking the X and shutting down the whole the whole live stream. But all you have to do is type the word or phrase in the live chat. This is for live viewers only. So I will share a word or phrase on the screen, and you type this in the live chat. You only have to enter it once. There's no hurry. Doesn't matter who gets in first or whatnot. But anyway, type this word in. Hashtag mug time. Hashtag mug time. And we will draw a winner here in just a moment. By the way, if you already won the mug, please don't enter the contest because you want to give somebody else a chance to do that. I should have mentioned that before. A few of you have already won, so do the right thing and don't enter this time. There's Maintenance with Mike did hashtag mug time in all lowercase, where Richard did hashtag mug time in uppercase, and it doesn't matter. The computer doesn't know uppercase from lowercase. It doesn't care. But make sure you use that hashtag and make sure you don't have any spaces. It's hashtag mug time. That's how it works. And Linda did it like that, and Jeffrey did it like that, and Dave did it like that, and Terry did some uppercase and some lowercase. Got real wacky here. Did a little bit of both. But you know what? It doesn't matter. You can still win, Terry. Computer don't care. All right. You ever see that video about the honey badger? It's got like a voiceover called Honey Badger Don't Care. Really hilarious. Okay, so we're going to hit the draw button here. I'll let the music play out a little bit. So, I mean, it doesn't take that long to type hashtag mug time. I'll just hover my mouse over the draw button. And then we'll hit the draw. And look, one more person entered. It's always a good time. We're coming up on the end here. We're gonna hit the draw button. Here we go. Maybe it's a little bit longer. There we go. Oh, it's Michael McLaughlin. Congratulations, Michael. You are the winner of the mug this evening. Congratulations, Michael. That's exciting. Here's the deal, Michael. Everybody knows what you have to do next. I need to know where you are. I need to know where to send this to. So, Michael McLaughlin, send me an email at this here email address, contactmcgtv@gmail.com. Notice how nice and slow and how I enunciated that for you, Michael. Contact mcgtv@gmail.com. Michael, send me an email with if that's your correct name, with your name and your mailing address, and we will get this processed, and you'll get it in the mail. I don't know when. You know, Teespring sometimes is 2 to 4 weeks, could take longer, could take less. They're hit or miss, but the quality is good. I'm happy with the quality. So congratulations for that. So send me that email, and we'll get you taken care of. Good deal. All right. Well, before we wrap up here, let's see if there's any other questions from folks. Or if you just want to keep chatting, if you just like to chat, that's fine too. All right. So lots of congrats here. That's good. That's good to see. You guys are so supportive of one another. It's so nice. Sometimes I think I'm just going to start a live stream and I'm just going to sit here and watch the comments. You don't need me. You don't need me. You can just entertain one another and support one another. And I think that's just nice. All right. By the way, I should mention this, that winning the mug the stickers, you can buy the stickers, but they're on Teespring too. They're kind of expensive, I think, for stickers. I like to just give them away. The mug, though, if you go to shopmcg.com, you can buy one of these mugs. There's also this is the updated design of the mug. It has the bumper sticker design on it, wraparound design. But there's also the original mug, which has the round logo like you see right here, something like that. So you can get the original design or this updated design, which I'm kind of fond of. But anyway, they're available at shopmcg.com. You can get T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, hoodies, things like that. I don't really promote that much, although when you watch any of my videos, YouTube puts a link on the bottom, a merch link. So it's available there for you. You can click on any of those as well. But anyway, if you go to shopmcg.com, If you really want a mug, you don't want to wait to win one. You can just get one. I just price them almost at my cost because it's not like I don't consider it a real revenue stream. I think it's just nice that people want to support the channel. So I try to just price it pretty much at cost. I think it has to be anyway. It doesn't matter. Point is, they're not expensive, but they're valuable. That's the second time we've used that tonight, right? Not expensive, but valuable for sure. And then other nights, again, if you're new here, I don't have any in front of me, but we often do a sticker giveaway and give away the sticker, which again resembles this. Boy, it's hard to be in a mirror image here. Resembles this. The stickers resemble that somewhat. So we do that usually on a Monday night for those who have not won them in the past. All right, checking out the comments here. Hey, Indy Tommy Tips. Good to see you this evening. Folks sometimes join in right toward the end, but that's okay. That's okay. There's a comment from BT. Handy about the Sunfire diesel fuel heaters. I don't know about Sunfire, but I certainly have seen a lot of stuff on the internet about these little diesel heaters. And I saw those years ago and was really intrigued by them. And then I've seen some videos just this past year. I think I read something about a patent expiring, so there's a lot of them available now. They always refer to them as the Chinese diesel heater, but it's basically like an oil furnace from what I see. I mean, it uses diesel or number two heating oil, and it's like a little jet engine, and it has a heat exchanger in it, and you have an exhaust that goes outside of your building or your room, and then a vent on the inside that blows the hot air. And from what I've seen, they work pretty well. So they're kind of intriguing looking. I do like I'd like to try one, although I don't really have a setup for one just yet. But they're pretty inexpensive from what I've seen, and they're kind of like they're basically assembled, but it's kind of some assembly required. There's kind of a kit. You had to wire it up 12-volt and all that. But what I saw early on is people use these like in that van life. If you're living in your car, there's supposedly you can use them in there. They use them in tents, different things like that. Um, one channel I really like, and I've tried to get him on here, is I forget his name, but the channel is called Silver Symbol. Silver Symbol, and he does really interesting content that's really across the board. He's pulled that off really well. Again, that's what I thought I was going to do on this channel, but we kind of focused more on the outdoor tractor type stuff. But he does this really cross section of content, and he did a diesel heater install and very thorough explanation and great job. So go check out Silver Symbol at some point and leave a comment and say, hey, why don't you join Ed at MCG for a live stream? Love to see you. Love to learn more about you. But it's a neat channel. A good presentation. Yes. Hey, Jay, thanks so much. The mug looks good on the job. Jay has sent me a few pictures, which I haven't been sharing pictures here because I just haven't really taken the time to upload the pictures, and I have to Photoshop them and do stuff to make them fit. So I haven't done that too much. But Jeffrey sent me some pictures working on a big dozer. I mean, a giant dozer. I don't know what the model is. You would know, or maybe Jeff will tell us. But it was like I always think of just D9, but there's more than that, I guess. Anyway, yeah. So I appreciate those pictures. So Mikey's asking about starter fluid to start your tractor. I think that's a pretty big no-no. Years ago, I had a John Deere 2020 that did not have glow plugs, and I used to squirt a little ether in there, and it would fire right up. But I've always heard that's like should be a last resort to use that. Certainly, my B2601. In fact, I just had a email from a viewer asking me about starting the tractor in cold weather, and my B2601, now the coldest it's been is what it was this week where it was, in the 20s. And I just turned the key to the glow plug uh, position, and you just hold it. Some machines, I think, the glow plugs actually the light shuts off, so you know when they're warmed up. Where the tractor, you just as long as you hold it, the glow plugs are engaged. So I just hold the key in the glow plug position for about, I don't know, 10 seconds on a really cold day, and it fires right up. And then I have been letting it just run for 5 minutes or so, idling to kind of get the fluids moving and warming up. But I haven't had to do anything else to start it. And I shouldn't say this, but it's the original battery, uh, and it was with 2019. So we're coming up on the fifth year here soon, and batteries are often good for maybe 4 or 5 years. Uh, so I don't know, but it starts just fine. So not a big deal if I have to change the battery, but so far it's been good. It's been good. So yeah, David Silver Symbol is in New Hampshire. That's true. He sold a home and moved to New Hampshire. There's lots of snow. Did one tractor video, which might be how I found the channel originally. Did a video about a Kubota tractor. So there you go. D11. There. Jay answered the question about what dozer it was. A D11T. It's and as uh, as BT said, it's a monster. So complete rebuild. Boy, got to put that on video, Jay. Be pretty interesting to see that. Yeah, but yeah, viewer photos. I've kind of gotten away from that for now, just because of the time involved. So anyway, hey Glenn and Maggie, thanks for jumping in there. Good to see you. Hope things are good out where you are. Probably have some snow and nasty weather out there too in the Midwest, right? Looking at some comments here. See if I missed anything before we wrap up. I don't think so. Earl's asking a question. I see Linda answer, but every Monday night, this is live stream number 146. Do you know that I looked it up? Thanks for asking this question, Earl. I looked it up, and next week is the 29th, the last week of January. February 1st, I believe it was February 1st, 2021, was the first Monday night live stream that I did. So we're going on 3 years here. That's hard to believe. I'll have to check that again, but it doesn't seem possible. I started doing live streams in the wintertime of apparently 2021 as kind of a filler for content, because in the winter here it's muddy. There wasn't a whole lot of content going on. So I thought I want to stay connected with the folks. So we started doing live stream. Thought I would do it for, maybe a month or so. Turns out folks keep coming back, and I love to see you every week. So we do this every Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time to about 8 p.m. Sometimes we have interesting guests who are a lot more interesting than I am. Sometimes we open up the lines and have other fellow content creators join me, or even if you wanted to join with a question and be on camera, you can do that. I've opened that up in the past. Had a little trouble with it last time with somebody being hacked or whatever, so that was kind of weird. But um, anyway, yes, we're here Monday nights. And Bob has a question, Brutal Bob, about the deer population on the farm. I don't see deer, probably because of Hachi. When we walk in the woods, the deer are always probably way ahead of us. But when we go back there, especially now with the snow, there are deer tracks all over the place. So they are back there. We're surrounded by, well, I guess everybody's surrounded by somebody else's property, but anyway, we do have different properties behind us, and they actively hunt those properties. So um, I have seen some deer in the far corner back here, but when we're walking back there, we don't see anything, because they're so aware of us, I guess, that they're long gone. But again, lots of tracks. Our property borders the creek here, the stream, and that's where they get their water, because you see the deer tracks going down to the water. So I need to probably put some game cameras out there just out of curiosity. I'm not a hunter, but I like to see what's going on back there. And I do have that Reolink camera that I'm not even using anymore, because I have the Ring camera set up now. So I should take that back into the woods and set that up. especially now that I see the deer tracks and kind of know where they are. Even without the deer tracks, or even without the snow, you can see, uh, you sort of see a trail and a path. So, but it would be neat to see. And I had set it up one time before when I was testing out that camera, and I did catch some action back there, some activity. So yeah, good point about the alfalfa. That on the other property, there's a big pile of yellow corn, and I see that back there. Um, I don't know how I feel about that. We're not going to get into a conversation about hunting. I have no problem at all with hunting whatsoever. But when you see when you're kind of trapping them with corn, I don't know how else you would do it. But it's important, I believe, 100% important to control the population. Here in the 90s, I mean, I've hit probably 4 deer in my lifetime with a car. Um, I mean, they were just out of control. And this particular road we live on was always known for deer. And everybody said, "Oh, you're going down that road. Watch for deer. Watch out." Been lucky the past several years, but I think the deer population has maybe gotten a little more under control, probably because we have coyotes now that we didn't have before. So it's nature, right? But all right. Oh yeah, the corn is for the birds. That's right. It's for the wild chickens. That's for sure. So anyway, well, this was a fun Monday night. Again, join me next week. We'll work on getting some more interesting guests, so you're not just listening to me. Uh, although I do love just reading the comments and chatting with you each week with that. So, but do check out the videos. I appreciate your support. It means the world to me that you're supporting me and Ann just by watching the videos. That's all it takes. Watching the videos, commenting, liking the videos, and of course your feedback. I don't want you to watch videos that you don't like. So if there's things you want to see, let me know. If you like a particular video, let me know what you liked about it. If you don't are not finding something, you can let me know that too. It won't hurt my feelings too much. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And as always, I do look forward to seeing you next time.